Hi everyone, Joe Gentili from Saroff Gentili LLP. So in today's video, I want to walk you through some of the basics on decision making for where to file a lawsuit. So if you're filing a lawsuit, a mandamus APA case for a delay, or you're filing a lawsuit because your petition was denied to try to overturn that, there's some decision making involved as to where to file that lawsuit, some strategy. So first, immigration cases are filed in federal court. Immigration law is federal, so federal court is where they're filed. But there's a lot of federal courts. So which one do you file in? So for delays and denials, they're filed in district court. So that's the basic trial level court. And within that, you have to decide which district court to file in. There's over 90 of them in the US. So the law says that there's basically one of three places that you could file. Number one, where the defendants are. So if you're suing the Department of State, they're located in Washington, D.C. So you could sue them in Washington, D.C. You could sue where the conduct that you're complaining about occurred. So let's say that your case is being processed in the Vermont Service Center or the Texas Service Center. You have the option of suing in those cases in Vermont or Texas. Or you can sue where the plaintiff resides, where you live. So those are the three options as to where you can sue. They all have instances where they're the best place to sue. But I would say that most of the time, the rule of thumb, the best place to go is where you, the plaintiff, live. And the reason for that is because if you file elsewhere, if you file in, let's say, Washington, D.C., or you file where the service center is, you run a higher chance of the government seeking to transfer your case elsewhere. This is particularly true if you file in Washington, D.C. And while motions to transfer are not the end of the road, you're not going to lose a case off a motion to transfer. It just takes time and money that you'd rather not expend if you don't have to. That said, there are definitely instances where it makes sense to file in Washington, D.C., or where the service center is located. So for instance, if you happen to live in Washington, D.C., then it makes all the sense in the world to file in Washington, D.C. Other examples where it makes sense to choose the service center or DC is, let's say that you live in an area where the U.S. Attorney's Office is hostile for some reason to immigration cases, or the case law on what it is that you're complaining about is poor where you live, because different areas of the U.S. have different case law. And so you can get a very different outcome on the same case depending on where you file it. So if you happen to be in one of those areas where the case law is poor, you probably want to file elsewhere. The risk of a transfer is a lesser risk than the risk of getting dismissed because the case law is poor. So the bottom line is that when you're looking to file an immigration lawsuit, you have options typically on where to file it. And this is an area that you definitely want to make this decision in conjunction with an experienced federal litigator, because this can make or break a case, especially if you're trying to avoid bad case law or go to good case law, or if time is really an important factor and a motion to transfer would be very bad because you just don't have a lot of time. So those are some of the considerations we think about when deciding where to file a lawsuit. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you for watching, and I encourage you to subscribe.